Episode begins right now.
Mr. Pop.
Warning! The content you are about to hear reflects the views and opinions of comedian Orny Adams. You may hear some of this material in one of his future comedy routines. Thusly, Orny doesn't want to hear from you after a show saying, "I've already heard that same material before on a podcast." Well, podcasting and a polished stand-up set are very different. Finally, some of this material you hear may never be used again. So sit back and enjoy.
Okay, you've been warned. Oh. That's the theme in xylophone. Oh, I think we're going off the air. Is that what that means? Episode 22, What's Wrong with Orny Adams? You've been warned. You've been warned. Thank you, Gary. That's Gary Cannon. He was a big hit on episode 21. But the party's over. It's over. I'm back in Big Yellow, my studio, which is a Shasta trailer converted, which is yellow, and I'm alone. So this is just me. It's just me today, and it's I've got a lot planned. So let me get into it. First of all, I might be alone in this, but is anybody else like tired of trying to make plans with people, and when they're busy, they have to tell you why they're busy? Just say you're busy. Hey, you want to go hiking tomorrow? I can't. I've got 5 Zoom meetings set up, and then I've got this and that. It's like just say you can't. People ask me all the time to do stuff. I said I can't, unfortunately, today or tomorrow. But what about? And then I propose another day. What about next week? I don't have to shove it in your face that I have a life. That's what it feels like to me. It feels like they're telling me I've got stuff going on a day that you just want to hike. And it could be anything. So sometimes you call somebody and I can't talk right now. And then they tell you why. Sometimes you call a dude, he's like, I can't talk, I'm about to take a shower. It's like, well, you don't have to tell me that. I don't need that visual. Yeah, this is what you do. If you can't talk, everybody practice at home right now. If I call you and you can't talk, just say, hey, can I call you a little bit later? I don't need a 30-second. The minute you say, all right, how can I? The minute you say, I can't talk, I'm on to the next activity. I'm on to whatever it's going to be. Maybe I'm going to go garden. Maybe I'm going to call somebody else. But I don't now need to hear you go through why you can't talk. I can't talk because I'm doing this, and then I've got this, and then at 5 I've got this set up, and I've got that. So can I call you like at 7? Just say I can't talk right now. Can I call you at like 7:30? Does that work for you? Am I the only one that is absolutely tortured by this? Tell me, please. Episode 22. What's wrong with Orny Adams?
What's his name, Kev?
Orny Adams. Put them together and what do you got? We got Orny Adams. We sure do. We sure do. What an episode. You're going to hear me taking lessons in Italian. You're going to hear a conversation I had earlier with Morbid, the guy from the Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel documentary who was falsely accused years ago of murdering Elisa Lam. You're going to hear me discuss anti-Semitism. You're going to hear me talk about Orson Welles. There's viewer mail. There's writing techniques. There's so much going on. There's so much wrong with the world, and there's so much wrong with Orny Adams. You decide which is which. I think it's the world. Thank you for tuning in. This is episode 22. What an episode I have planned for you guys today. I'm going to play an interview, or I'm going to call it a conversation I had with Morbid. If you watch this Netflix documentary, not enough of you have watched it, but this guy was accused of murdering this girl when he couldn't have done it. And so I get to the bottom of it, and I get a lot of questions answered that I think you would be curious about too, like this. Being falsely accused of murder, does that help you get laid?
Lately, well, I mean, you know what?
That doesn't sound like you was expecting that question. Stick around. I'm going to play that conversation for you a little bit later in the podcast. But right now, let's see. Here's the other thing with the phone that drives me nuts. And then I want to play a theme that Morbid put together for me for this podcast, because Morbid plays. It's called deep synthetic black metal, I think he calls it. No, not synthetic, symphonic black metal. So he said, I want to make the theme for you. I said, all right, let's do it. Let's do it. And on his website, he says, I want to make your ears bleed. And believe me, I'll play it low, but it will, it'll make your ears bleed. That's for sure. Here's the other thing. If you're going to take my phone call, now a lot of people watching this remember back in the day when phones had cords. So you were limited to a certain number of feet, like a radius. You could, like, when you tie your dog down in the yard just so it can go as far as the edge of the lawn and it can't bite people. Phones used to be like that. There was a cord. So maybe if you were in the kitchen, you could cook, or maybe if you're in the living room, you could go 8 feet that way. Now, because they're cordless, I feel like I'm an extra in other people's lives. Like, nobody's listening anymore. We're so, like, lonely for connection that we can't even do activities alone. We're bored. We need a witness almost to that activity. And I'm guilty of this too. And in the last year, I've tried really hard not to, double up on activities, because I found it was giving me headaches and anxiety. So if I'm going to do an activity, then I'm going to concentrate on that activity. Maybe this is age. Maybe I'm like, when you were younger and your dad was like in the car and you'd have to turn the radio down so he could concentrate, or your mom had to turn it down so she could concentrate. Maybe I've become that. Maybe I'm distracted easily. Maybe it's an age thing. I don't know. But when I talk on the phone now, I'd rather have 10 minutes of just concentrating on a conversation with the other person. But I can't get other people to agree to this. I'll call people. The other day, somebody was filling up their gas in their car and talking to me, and you can hear the nozzle going and the beeping of the person putting in their zip code into the, and I don't know why. Well, I make purchases all the time with my credit card. Why do gas stations need to know my zip code? They're the only people that need to know my zip code. And I've put in fake zip codes before, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So I don't get it. Then yesterday I spoke to somebody that was fixing their furniture, putting little scratch pads underneath the legs so it doesn't scratch the floors. I've talked to people while they're running and they're completely out of breath. Sometimes I can tell they're just online. Or sometimes I'm talking to somebody and you can tell they just got a text message and now they're reading that. So nobody, and then if I'm in the middle of a story and I'm telling you a story and all of a sudden I can tell your attention span is dipped, it exhausts me. It physically I just want to get off the phone at that moment and just take a nap. Morbid, make their ears bleed. No, not that. That's not Morbid. Morbid, love when I hit the rock. Hold on, let me back it up. It makes me want to just get off the phone with them right then and there and take a nap. Morbid, make their ears bleed. This is a theme Morbid made for me. Feels like Halloween a little. I asked him about it. I said, I don't listen to this black metal. Am I supposed to understand the lyrics? And I guess it's sort of a code. So I know the lyrics to my theme. I could sort of make out what he was saying, but otherwise, no way. But I want to thank Morbid for taking the time to put that together. It's an honor when another artist, and Morbid is an artist. When you hear him talk about his role in this, actually not the documentary, how he creates music, it is actually fascinating. He was a great interview. Great interview. And I was actually shocked, I'll get into it in a second, that he was happy with the way he came out in that, was portrayed in that documentary, because, I mean, I thought they were very fair to him in regards to his interview, but I felt like they let his storyline linger too long as a possible suspect, sort of giving life to this old internet rumor where these sleuths falsely accused him of murder without all the facts, because you'll find out why. Well, if you've seen the documentary, you'll find out why, or if you listen to this interview in a few minutes, you'll find out why he could not have done the murder and did not do the murder. Speaking of other things you may not understand, I will be speaking Italian in a few minutes. For my Italian listeners, ho studiato a Firenze per 5 mesi. What did I just say? I studied in Florence for 5 months. I used to speak almost fluently, or I could definitely understand everything, and I've lost it, so I have started a nice listener gifted me Rosetta Stone. And I have been taking lessons right from the beginning. Even though I am somewhat proficient in Italian, I wanted to start from the beginning. And me and that Rosetta Stone, we don't get along. Believe it or not. We do not get along. So this is, before I get into that, this is breaking. This is breaking right now because another person got in trouble saying something stupid. It issued what I call a form apology. All these apologies sound the same. I promise I'll do better in the future. I was wrong. I'm working on this. I was unaware. It's such garbage. If you're going to screw up, please don't hire a publicist. We don't care that your publicist can write an apology. We want to hear what you have to say and say it the way you would say it. Because all these apologies are starting to sound the same. I'm talking about Myers Leonard, who's the center for the Miami Heat basketball team. And I'm excited because finally I can comment on something and not feel terrified because he made an anti-Semitic comment and I'm Jewish. So this is great. How many listeners did I just lose saying I'm Jewish? When I came up in show business, I was told by a very famous person, "Don't tell people you're Jewish." I thought, well, that's absurd. I didn't want to mention it, but that seemed weird. And like everything else in my career, I didn't listen to that person. That person's very successful, and I just can't do comedy, or I just can't do this podcast unless I'm completely honest with you guys. And if you're going to leave or not want to listen to me because I'm Jewish, I don't want you along for the ride in the first place. And it's just absurd to hate a whole group of people. But, I always feel like on guard. I was talking with my mom about this. Oh, and I want to thank my little sister for sending me this very cool Snoopy mug. My family and my family gives me Snoopy gifts all the time. There's a Snoopy behind me. I don't want you guys to give me Snoopy stuff. It's just something between me and my family, but so cool. I love this gift. Thank you. And now I think about my little sister every time I use it, which is quite often, even though I just got it. But even in the last podcast, I was talking about that dumb wall. Can somebody suggest headphones where my hair can look as fabulous as it normally looks without the headsets ruining it? I put 5 minutes into Google. I couldn't come up with a solution. Maybe there are some fellow podcasters out there that can tell me. I tried in the earbuds and they don't cut out the noise enough and I don't sound as grand as I should. So I need, and I saw some that sort of have a headband, but it looks like it's still going to do the same thing. But they're like, this doesn't ruin your hair. Well, it looks like it does. So if anybody has suggestions. Anyway, on the last podcast, episode 21, and I thank you, Gary Cannon, for coming on. You added a lot of fun. I can't drink and do podcasts. I can't drink and keep a thought together. So But it was a fun experiment, that's for sure. But at one point I was talking about this pink wall we have in Los Angeles. Oh, this is so cute. I can see a little finch. I wish I could have my camera. A little finch outside my window. Hey, Finchy. Wow, that is so cute. I've never seen that. Just sitting there on a thing of bamboo. There's another one. Oh my God, if they start screwing. Oh, there's 4. Wow, I've got like a colony of little finches. Outside my front door, I found, and maybe I'll post this picture. Maybe I'll post it. I don't like to share too much about my personal life, but I found a little nest of hummingbirds. And it's so adorable. It's like that big. It's almost like a $50. Anybody remember $50? Anybody remember when phones had cords? Yeah, it's like that big with 2 little Tic Tac size eggs in there. And I was wondering what was going on because there was a hummingbird and it kept coming right in my face. I said, boy, these hummingbirds are getting comfortable with me. They really, they know I'm no harm. Turns out that the hummingbird was about to take out my eyes to protect its eggs. It's amazing how nature, all of nature really protects its young. It's fascinating. I think and then on the opposite, and I want to, I think in a future episode, I may actually tackle some of my heroes that have been canceled, because here's the deal, and it comes back to Myers-Leonard too. Just, if you're successful and making a lot of money, shut up. Just shut up. Don't say, that finch is upside down. Oh, now there's one over here. Oh, this is so cool. You know, if you're doing well, like when I was on MTV Teen Wolf, I knew not to say anything stupid online to get fired. Like, if you're doing well, you know, unless you want politics to be your thing, just know, you know, like that guy from Mumford & Sons, the banjo player. He backed a right-wing activist who was, I think, supporting the Proud Boys. And now nobody wants to listen to Mumford & Sons, or a portion of people don't. Of course, then there'll be other people that now want to listen to them. So I don't know. But for me personally, I'd rather just listen to your music, watch your art, because I can't separate it. I can't. I'm sorry. Like, I'm watching this Woody Allen documentary, and it breaks my heart. Breaks my heart if this is true. Breaks my heart for Dylan, who may have been abused. Seems like she was abused. And I've lost another hero. And I'm not qualified to discuss this right now, but, you know, I just wish people would shut up. Like, now I can't watch the Miami Heat without hating this guy, Myers-Leonard, who made an anti-Semitic comment while streaming, playing a video game that was streaming. I don't know why people have to play these video games and stream them. And then they yell at each other. They go, oh, well, take that, bitch. You know, they say words like that. So I'm in 18 different places right now. I didn't talk about what I said, I don't think yet, in episode 21, but we have because I got distracted by the finches. So here's the thing. Don't, if you're on the Miami Heat and you're young and it looks like you got a career, I think he's one of the starters, don't play those games. Don't play those games until your career is over. Like, if you have a good thing going, shut up. Why do you think I'm doing this? Why do you think I'm doing this podcast? Honestly, if I had a great thing going, do you think I'd be doing this podcast? It'd be a liability. In fact, a lot of the times people say, will you come on my podcast? And I say no. Why do I say no? Because it's a liability. The chances that I say something stupid or something that could be misinterpreted or chopped up in such a way to make me look stupid, to help them get more listeners or viewers, is great. And what's the upside for me? Very little, as far as I can tell. Most podcasts aren't listened to. Like, a lot of the times, people are canceled for things that they say on podcasts or broadcasts that very few people actually heard in the first place. Because people like to dig up into your past life and find things to ruin it. So that's why I don't really do other people's podcasts. There's very little upside, and you have to be selfish in this day and age because of the liability of being canceled. And Myers-Leonard, this guy, he's a center, probably doing well. Now he's been suspended because he used the K word to describe Jewish people and claims he didn't know, and then comes out with this apology. And in a previous episode, I think it was 20, I made fun of these fake I call them fake apologies. They're like what do they go on? Apologyzoom.com? What are they? They're form apologies? The do-it-yourself apologies? Like LegalZoom. You go on LegalZoom, you want to do a will, you want to create a corporation, you want to do a living will, like all sorts of stuff on this business, family, intellectual property, all this stuff that forms you can get on LegalZoom for very little money rather than hiring an attorney. And I'm starting to feel like that's what's going on with apologies. There must be some website where all these people can go on and go, let's see, I was playing a video game, return and infraction, called Jews the K word, okay, and defense. Let's say I didn't know what the word meant, okay. Do you want to say that you'll do better in the future, or do you want to say... It must be something like that, because all these publicists are hacks. They're hacks. One person said it one time and then they all sort of steal it. That's probably going on too. It's me taking a sip. When you're the only one in the studio and there's no stopping, you got to stop and take a sip. So I'll read this apology in a second, but to me, it sounds very form. And I'm guilty of this when somebody dies and I have to reach out and give my sympathies. I always Google sympathies because I don't know the right thing to say, and I don't want to say too much, and I don't want to say the wrong thing. So you can go on like Hallmark.com. They give some suggestions of what you can say. I hope you feel surrounded by much love. That's a pretty good one. Sharing in your sadness as you remember Dan. Now, I'm going to give a suggestion. Don't use the name Dan if Dan didn't croak. Okay? Sending healing prayers and comforting hugs as I am sorry for your loss. With deepest sympathies as you remember Robert. Yeah. You know, if I knew a Robert that died, I would just copy and paste exactly that and put that in the email. What I do is, because look at this, it was truly a pleasure working with your father for 17 years. That's an odd number, 17 years. Wonder what they did together. He will be deeply missed. I don't know. Is that true? Thinking of all of you. When I die, you guys don't have to be so sappy. Like, just write. Just send people that knew me and loved me. That sucks. That blows. Thinking of all of you as you celebrate your grandmother's remarkable life. Well, sounds like she was in her 90s and it was time to go. And, it wasn't much of a loss. There's no loss in that. We are missing Anne along with you. Oh, bullshit. Bullshit. You're not missing Anne as much as they're missing Anne. With your heartfelt sympathy. Thinking of you and wishing you moments of peace and comfort as you remember a friend who is so close to you. Yeah. It's like these people that go on. There's one more. Our family is keeping your family in our thoughts and prayers. So what I do, so people don't think I'm a hack, and so I don't sound like other people, I combine them. Ready? Watch this. We are missing Robert along with you. It was truly a pleasure working with Robert for 17 years. Sending heartfelt prayers and comforting hugs. I hope you feel surrounded by much love, as I am sharing in your sadness as you remember Robert. That's what I would do. How good was that? Sympathyzoom.com. I'm going to do apologyzoom.com. That's my next thing. This is Myers-Leonard, his apology for using an anti-Semitic slur. Well, let's start with the fact he's got two Jewish names. Maybe that's where his anger comes from. Myers and Leonard. This is Myers-Leonard released this a day after playing, I don't know what it was, maybe Fortnite or something. And there's a lot of shit talking back and forth. Men love to shit talk. When I play basketball, I was a big shit talker and I get it. I respect it. But maybe not use derogatory terms. Anybody? Can we cut it out? We're all people. In fact, Morbid says that. Morbid said pain is universal. That's going to come up in this interview I have with him. Pain's universal. We all have it. We're all the same. Stop saying, thinking, compartmentalizing people based on race or ideology or the way they look. Oh, I have so much to say. I didn't know I had so much to say. Let's hear what Myers Leonard had to say, because in the last episode, I hate being on edge. Like this, I feel easy about talking about this because he made an anti-Semitic comment. But in the last episode, we have this wall in Los Angeles that these influencers go to. It's a pink wall outside of the Paul Smith clothing store, and influencers fly from all over the world for Instagram vacations to have their picture taken in front of this pink wall. I think it is so absurd. It drives me nuts. It's one of the things I hate about human beings. Hold on! I'm going to go on to apology.com and for making fun of Instagrammers. I shouldn't have done that. That was wrong. Hold on a second. What just happened? Yeah! I'm bringing it down. I didn't... fading, beautiful fade. Listen, I didn't make a joke. That does drives me nuts. When I go for a hike and people are like taking these pictures that you can tell are... We've become like a nation of people who are just marketing all the time. Like I look at young people, they know how to pose and take pictures. I didn't know how to pose and take pictures when I was a kid. We look like a bunch of kids. Like if you look at when I'm young, just like our arms are around, three boys, 11 years old, their arms are around each other, like, chilling. We didn't like stand a certain way so that the angle was right and stick our ass out. We took one picture. Ted's eyes are closed. Why was Ted's eyes closed in the picture? Who cares? One picture, that's it. You blew it, Ted. Now there's, take a picture. Look at how do I look? Hold on, let me do it this way. Let me angle myself. Like sometimes Teen Wolf fans makes me very uncomfortable. Young fans want pictures with me, and sometimes they're young ladies, and they pose. It's so bizarre. So bizarre. I'm going to do it. Who was it? There's this one actor who refuses to put his, like you'll see his arms. It looks like he's around people, but he's not touching them. Who is it? That guy who was in the movie about the bus that never, who is it? All right, he'll come to me. But he refuses to touch people, and he's smart. He's smart. Hold on, got to put a camera back on. I must be over 20 minutes. This is the technology I have. Yeah, it looks like it is. I'll tell you. Love this podcast, but as soon as it starts generating money, I'm buying all new cameras and lighting. We have had a horrific last 4 days trying to edit this Morbid video because we used a service that films at a different frame rate and audio rate, so nothing syncs up. It's a nightmare. Ernesto and I have been working nonstop, and then I sent it to a film company in New York that I'm friends with and said, what would you do with this? And, they were like, this will take a lot of time, and is it worth it? I said, yeah, for Morbid? Yeah. I mean, you heard his theme song. Yeah. Morbid deserves it. You're stopping that. Okay, so in the last episode, I was talking about that dumb wall, and I hate that wall, and I can't stand when people want their picture taken in front of that wall. And I've never had my picture taken, and if somebody was visiting me and wanted to have their picture taken, it would be a very painful moment for me that I would have to drive them to, to have their picture taken in front of it. So I said, it's people fly from all over the world for this pink wall. What is this? Is like in California, this is our big attraction. What is this, like our Great Wall of China? And I was like, uh-oh, am I gonna get in trouble for that? That was the first thing that came to my mind, because I thought, oh, wait a minute, we have a wall that people fly to see. In China, they have a wall. So wall, that's where my mind went. But wait a minute, am I just dismissively comparing this great wall in China, which is miles long, to a shitty, stupid pink wall outside of the Paul Smith clothing store? Was that insensitive? Do I need to go on apologyzoom.com right now and come up with a form apology? What do I do? And the thing is that it's dangerous. These are dangerous times that I have to feel that way, because we're all going to say insensitive things and think insensitive things. And we can't just snap and ruin people's lives. If it was offensive, let's have a discussion. Now, there are some people out there that want to be offensive, okay? And they want to piss people off. That's not me. But I also want to feel a sense of freedom when I talk, because right now, I don't want to leave the house. I'm afraid. I was walking the other day, and a little kid, 5 years old, came up and punched me in the thigh. I don't know why. And I looked at the mother, and the mother didn't even scold the kid. And I thought, don't say anything. Don't say, excuse me, could you say something to your kid? Your kid just punched me. Because what if somebody starts videotaping? Now what? People are going to weigh in. Somebody's going to find fault in me questioning a mother and how she raises her kid. That's what I'm saying. It's scary times. But this is a full-on offensive by Myers Leonard, and I don't even, I saw the first few seconds of Michael Rappaport made a video, and he's always very funny and fired up. And he's like, I never even heard this word growing up. And I'm full on 100% Ashkenazi Jewish, not 94%, 100%. And I didn't even hear this growing up in New York. And it's true. Nobody, he said, Jews sometimes say the word, but not sort of like, hey, what's up, K guy? They just talk about it when they talk about anti-Semitism. So it isn't a word you hear often. So Myers Leonard, here's his apology, which I assume he got off of apologyzoom.com, my new website. In fact, I'm going to go buy that before I publish this, because I'm going to have form apologies, because that's all we do now is apologize. And then we let the people off the hook. Bullshit. Stop screwing up, everybody. I'm so sick of apologies, like it's going to make it go away. An apology used to have weight. It used to be great because it meant something. Now it means nothing. Myers Leonard, I am deeply sorry for using an anti-Semitic slur during a live stream yesterday. While I didn't know what the word meant at the time, my ignorance about its history and how offensive it is to the Jewish community is absolutely not an excuse, and I was just wrong. How does he not know? How limited is this guy's vocabulary that he's using words that he doesn't even know what they mean? Start there, buddy. Start by knowing what comes out of your mouth. I am now more aware of its meaning, and I am committed to properly seeking out people who can help educate me about the type of hate and how we can fight it. You know what? You don't have to seek people out. You don't now have to sit down and have meetings with Jewish people. That's not going to make me, as a Jewish person, feel any better. You don't have to sit down and try and convince me. If you hate Jews, that's fine. Go ahead, say it. Come out and say it. I don't like Jewish people, but I'm great at basketball. So do you guys want to continue to see me play basketball? Then accept it. Or I don't know what, but I don't think counseling with Jewish people is going to make this guy, it's probably going to make him hate Jewish people even more, being around Jewish people. Oh no. Oh no. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, delete that, Orny. Oh no. I am now more aware of its meaning. Am I committed to properly seeking out the people who are going to educate me about and a type of hate and how we can fight? Well, now he's going to fight for the Jewish people. This is absurd. I acknowledge and own my mistake, and there's no running from something like this that is so hurtful to someone else. This is not a proper representation of who I am. I think it is. I think it is. I think what happened is an exact representation of who you are. You use words whose meanings you don't know, the definition you don't know, and yeah, I don't know if you necessarily hate Jewish people, but I have so many thoughts because, first of all, Leonard Myers, whichever Jewish name you want to do first. Like, even if you flipped his name, it was Leonard Myers. That's even more Jewish. You didn't write this apology, okay? That's more offensive. Not more offensive. That's another infraction. I want an apology for using a form apology, Leonard. That's what you say. I am deeply sorry for using an anti-Semitic slur and hiring a publicist to write me an apology. Just go, hey, listen, I was playing a video game. I got heated. I said a word. I didn't really understand the weight and gravity of the word. And I feel bad. Because then he goes on and apologizes to the owner of the team, who I guess is Jewish, and other people in the community. I mean, Miami's got a lot of Jews. Myers, hate to tell you, a lot of Jews. A lot of us down there. All right? Not a good place to... You shouldn't use that word anywhere. But just give a heartfelt, even if it's 3 sentences, at least make me believe that you feel bad that you used it, or don't say anything and just own it and go, hey, listen, I like to use this word, and then see what the consequences are. But this is bullshit. I have a feeling that the family that owns the team, their name is the Arison family. The Arison family he apologizes to. I have a feeling the Arison family hired the publicist to write this apology to them. That's how warped this is. It's like these people screw up and then they have a machine behind them to fix it. Well, a lot of people don't have a machine. Like Morbid. This guy Morbid, Pablo Vergara, did not have a machine to fix him being accused of murder. He wakes up one day and his life is over. It's not over, but, he ended up in a mental hospital and having a breakdown because he was accused of murder. Now, Morbid, let's just talk about the name he chose, Morbid, because his real name is Pablo. He was raised in Mexico City. But Morbid, here's the dictionary definition: characterized by or appealing to an abnormal and unhealthy interest in disturbing and unpleasant subjects, especially death and disease. The name fits him in his art. It doesn't fit him. I think it's a character he's doing. And he was in this documentary called The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel, which is about a woman from Vancouver, Washington, that disappeared in this hotel. The last video footage has her leaving an elevator, and then she just disappears. And it's a hotel that serial killers stayed at, murderers. It's steeped in all this sort of morbidness. So Morbid went there. He explains why he went there in this conversation we had, which is fascinating. I respect his commitment to art, for sure. But I thought in the documentary, I don't feel like he was portrayed well. And I said that to him. Did you like the way you came out? And he said, yeah. It threw me because in the interview, I feel like, oh no. Here, Orny's on a pulpit. Orny's going to educate young Morbid about being in a documentary and how he made a mistake, and he was happy with it. And he mentioned that he was a fan of the director. And the director is Joel Berlinger. Excuse me. And I should have made this connection. And I didn't. And I wish I could talk to Morbid or Paul. Paul? Oh, no. I just called Pablo Paul. Am I going to get in trouble for this? Was that insensitive? Does that mean something deep inside of me doesn't like the name Pablo? I mean, that's the way the mind has to go now, which is really unfortunate because I don't know why I called him Paul. But Pablo, it's sick. It's sick times. Sorry. It is. I mean, I'm all for canceling the people that deserve to be canceled. And there's a lot of people. And there's a lot of bad, horrible thinking in people's minds that's corrupt. And that's got to change. But Myers Leonard, he doesn't need to be canceled because he said that. And he doesn't need this bullshit apology. Just apologize, and let's hope he never uses it again. And if you want to choose to not watch him play basketball, that's fine. That's fine. That's your business. That's how you cancel people. You just stop supporting them. That's what you do. But I didn't make the connection. I wish I had, because it actually is fascinating. Joel Berlinger, he's the one who did the trilogy called Paradise Lost, about the 3 teenage boys in West Memphis, Tennessee, that were accused of murdering 3 young boys. I believe I have the facts straight. I haven't seen that in a long time. But that was gold. That was a great documentary. The Cecil Hotel, Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel, they tried to make something out of nothing. There was nothing there. There was no story. But what was interesting, which ties Berlinger and ties Morbid together, is Morbid was falsely accused based on his look and his music. And same with the Memphis 3. They were these guys who sort of believed in the occult and dressed a certain way that didn't fit in. And people said it's got to be them. It's got to be them. And that's what people like to do. They like to look at people and make snap judgments. And that's wrong. And that's what happened to Morbid. So I think he probably saw, because I think at the end of the trilogy, the Paradise Lost, I think they were exonerated. I know they're out of prison, but I know it's murky. I don't remember the facts, but I think Morbid saw Berlinger as an advocate for people that were outcasts based on their appearance. That's what I would guess. I don't know for sure. I want to say this. I'm a fan of that documentary for sure. I felt like The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel was a bit of a stretch for Berlinger. Clearly a talented guy. But to me, it would have been more interesting if you took Morbid's story and sort of tied it in that way. Like, here we go again. Saw someone falsely accused of a murder. But by the way, I don't know if the Memphis 3 were falsely accused. But in this case, yeah, based on his look. And this has happened throughout time. It's like like a witch trial. Because these guys in West Memphis, Tennessee, believed in an occult sacrifice. And one of them, that guy, Damien, he had to have the name Damien? When he was in prison, I think he said that he was excited he was in prison because he will now die in infamy. Yeah. So I'm going to play you this interview that I had with Morbid. And I really enjoyed talking to him. Oh, is it raining? Beautiful. Beautiful! Now I know if I see finches outside my window making love, it means rain's coming. We need rain in Los Angeles. Bring it on. Bring it on. Thank you. This is great news. I'm going to play you the Morbid interview. This is a guy who's had a lot of pain in his life. He discusses it. He doesn't want to discuss his family. He didn't ask me to edit anything out. He didn't ask me beforehand not to ask him any questions. It's much like Oprah in the Royals interview. The Meghan and Harry. This is my Royals interview. She gave a similar disclaimer, and I just did too. I really enjoyed that interview. I have lots to say about that. Actually, I don't. Except to say I thought Oprah was exceptional. And I learned from watching Oprah. She's a great interviewer. I need to sit back more, ask the questions, sit back. Part of the problem is Morbid was in another city. He was in New York City. We're doing this video link. He had not a very good internet connection, so it kept sort of freezing, and we would interrupt each other. It's a problem, you know. And I'm new to this, so I'm giving it my best, everybody. I'm trying. That is for sure. Oh, okay. We'll do me speaking Italian afterwards. Let's get to this. Let's get to the Morbid interview. Let's see. I talked about that because the last episode I lost all my notes on Phil Collins. I don't want to do that again. We did that. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. I've got a piece of fan mail I'm going to read at the end. A guy from Hawaii, a stand-up comic, sent me a nice note on Instagram and wanted to know about writer's block. I'll address that at the end. Yeah, so I learned some stuff during this interview, and I was surprised to find out that Morbid didn't object to how he was portrayed. Here, I reached out to him because I felt like I wanted to defend him and give him a voice and allow him to come on and say, yeah, you know what? That wasn't cool what they did. But that's not the way he feels. And I think you're going to enjoy this. I certainly enjoyed talking to Morbid earlier. Take a listen. If you go to my next guest's website, there's a quote from Friedrich Nietzsche. I am a forest and a night of dark trees, but he who is not afraid of my darkness will find banks full of roses under my cypresses. My guest today, and I welcome Pablo Vergara. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing excellent, man.
Thank you so much for coming on today. I'm excited to have you for sure. Thank you for doing this. I know you don't do many interviews, so it means a lot to me.
Yeah, absolutely, Orny. I appreciate it, man. And I can only hope I can keep up with you, man. So, yeah, glad to be here.
Oh, you're going to keep up fine. Yeah. I think I just accidentally muted you. But anyway, so welcome. Do you want me to call you Morbid or Pablo?
I never know, man. I guess whichever feels right for you.
Morbid feels right for me.
Yeah. All right.
So that song I just played was called My Nightmare, right? And you've been living sort of a nightmare for the last couple of years. Am I correct?
Yeah, it's actually 7 years. Yeah, it's been a wild ride. Just trying to keep busy so I don't have to suffer it too much. And but things are starting to change. It seems.
Good. You and I have something in common. We were both in documentaries. So I understand that anxiety where you record things and you hand it off to producers and you don't know what they're going to do with it. And I can only imagine for my viewers that don't know Morbid or Pablo, and you can watch, there's a documentary on Netflix called The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel. And Pablo, who performs under the name Morbid as a musician, was falsely accused of a crime. And it's mathematically impossible that he did it. But these internet sleuths, these geniuses, decide that they can figure it out, even though they don't have information that the police have. And they destroyed your life, right?
Yeah, I mean, at that time, and I had to implement ways to keep moving forward and keep doing my thing. But yeah, at a point my life was destroyed. Yeah, that's for sure.
You've lived this nightmare for the last couple of years, but that's not really what I want to concentrate on, because I watched it and I felt for you. And I thought, the internet can be so irresponsible at times, and it hasn't been fair to this guy. And I talked about you on a previous episode, and I was excited that you were willing to come on. But the first thing, when they showed a clip of you, I thought, this guy's fascinating. You've got a charisma, and your music. How do you describe the genre of your music?
That music, it's what people will call extreme symphonic black metal. It's
called black metal.
Yeah.
Just tell me a little bit about it, because I know nothing about this. I don't, and you probably know this. I don't listen to it, but I want to learn about it. So educate me and my listeners to what black metal is.
Oh well, I mean, it's probably something that not a lot of people are gonna find interest on, but it's coming from the mouth of people like us. It's just that cold, dark feeling you get while you're walking in the forest at night in winter. Maybe that's what black metal will be. It's like that like the feeling of perdition, feeling of the frosted soul, maybe something misanthropic, something kind
Yeah,
of.
on your website, you said, "I want to make your ears bleed." That's what you said on your website. Am I supposed to? And I'm not even being rude. I'm asking seriously because I'm an idiot. I know nothing about this. But am I supposed to understand the lyrics? Like if we take this one song and I downloaded two of your songs, Morbid, so you've made more money on this podcast than I have. All right.
Oh,
And
that's great!
here's a song.
Finally.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is from Slit Wrist. And I'm going to bring the volume down a little bit. But like if I go like a minute into this song, these lyrics, am I supposed to understand this? Morbid. What the hell is going on there? That song, the name of the song is, I think, What's Wrong, or
What's so wrong?
yeah, What's So Wrong. That's almost the name of this podcast. So I'm like, I better download this song. What's so wrong? What are those lyrics?
Well, that line I actually said, "In this night, I'll die for you."
Yeah, yeah.
So it's that kind of like lyric style, kind of
Again, I'm just going to read some of the names of your songs from Slit Wrist. Okay, Age of Agony, When Beauty Dies, Rip My R.I.P. Rip Rest in Peace My Soul, What's So Wrong, Blood, Died in the Pain. Is there a lot of pain in your music?
that specific project. Yeah, that one. It was. I mean, I made it right after a breakup. She took off with a rock band, and
The
basically,
whole rock band?
yeah, in their tour
Wait a
bus.
minute. So she was dating you, and then she fell in love with another singer or somebody in a band?
She just jumped into their tour bus and disappeared for a long time, and
Wow.
I was pretty devastated. So yeah, the whole album is pretty, yeah, I guess an ode to heartbreak or something. Like it was pretty painful.
And do you think, of course, and you know, one of the themes of this podcast is how we're all just similar. We're all human. So for a guy that, you've got black nail polish, you're wearing all black, and your songs are very violent, but you feel pain just like the rest of us.
Yeah, I mean, pain is a universal emotion, I guess. I mean, everyone feels it. Different animals. I mean, it's just something we can't escape from this world.
And help me understand this music. Is this, like if you read Stephen King, he writes about these murders, right? But you would never suspect he's going to act on it. Do you think that, like, for an author like Stephen King, is that an outlet? Do you think if he didn't write those books, he might act on it?
I believe so. I mean, it could be cathartic, and that the thing is, like, it's very well accepted to buy horror literature where it's the subjects and the themes are murder, death. Same with movies or video games. But oh my god, don't let the death metal dude sing about death, because let's crucify him. That's
Yeah, isn't that interesting? It really is, because if you notice in life, some people can say things and get away with it, and other people can't. And I've always been fascinated by that. And when I was watching the documentary, my first thought was, thank God he's singing about this and not acting on this.
yeah. I mean, it's just storytelling. Actually, most of my lyrics. I mean, I have all types of topics, subjects. I mean, just happened that whatever they picked, these web sleuths or trolls, it had to do something with death. But I mean, it's not like I always sing about that. yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
if you're
you've
in
got
the
instrumentals. Yeah.
oh yeah, yeah, I have instrumentals, I have ballads, I have love songs, I have a lot of stuff. It's just they focus. People have selected vision or focus, like they just they look into something and then like you can get them out of that. It's like they just wanted to make me the bad guy and made it their mission to do that, like stealing my pictures, my videos, my music.
Did any of them? Yeah, I mean, so we're going back to the documentary, the Cecil Hotel, the Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel. It's about a woman. She's 21 years old. She's from Vancouver, Canada. She stayed at this hotel in Los Angeles called the Cecil Hotel, which is in a horrible part of town. And she disappeared, and there was an accidental death. I'm not going to recap the entire documentary, but Morbid or Pablo, you stayed there a year before she disappeared, right? And it would be impossible. You were actually out of the country. You were in Mexico, right? At the time?
Yeah, man. I mean, I was in Mexico. I was in the studio. I have a contract that is signed with the dates. I have stamps on my passport. My video on YouTube was dated 1 year before. It's just like they just.
They see what they want to see. They don't look, the date is a year before. And instead of like really doing the investigation, they just jump on it. And then once one person says it, other people start saying, I see it on every day, like on the internet, like Twitter. It's like a so-and-so cancel party. People are celebrating, ruining people's lives. And you're a victim. You're a victim of cyberbullying. And you wake up one morning, and how did you find out about this?
Yeah, I mean, this happened way before we even had the term of cancel culture. This was 7 years ago. I mean, it was I guess one of the first times this happened. And
Boy,
I
you're
will,
like the original cancel culture guy. You should be listed in Wikipedia. First guy
hey,
canceled.
yeah, someone should be writing that right now. And yeah, I mean, I just woke up one day and just a regular day, and some friend of mine tells me, "What the hell do you do now, dude?" I was like, "What do you mean?" And she sends me a link. It goes to a radio station, TV station in Taiwan, and I see my face everywhere. I see my videos, like, and then I don't know what it says because it's in a different language. And someone translated for me, and it says, "You're a suspected killer of Elisa Lam." I was like, "Whoa, that's a new one." And yeah,
Yeah.
just
And it almost in a weird warped way, it sort of fits into your genre of music, because it's this fantasy. And you talk about fantasy killing, and now all of a sudden you've been accused of fantasy killing. It in a artistic way, it's a little beautiful, isn't it?
I guess you could say so. I mean, did I attract that?
I'm
I
just trying to,
guess.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's very strange. It's one of those things in the universe that I'm still thinking every day about it. I'm like, how did this happen?
Yeah, I mean, does it give you a shit ton of black metal cred?
Well, I hope so. This black metal community could be a hard, a hard place to be at, and I guess some people do. I'm sure. I hope they are giving me credit instead of getting pissed at me talking about it. Uh,
Have any of those genius internet sleuths that were so quick to jump on you and destroy your life reach out to you?
Hell no. They'll never will. I mean,
You got to be kidding me! None of those people, not even the people in the documentary, reached
well,
out or said anything.
well, as far as I know, the people in the documentary, they never had anything to do with me, or they never, they are completely free of charge
No,
for that.
the people that were in the documentary that were accusing you at the time. Did any of those people reach out and say, "Hey, dude, I'm sorry"?
Um, One of them reached out, and I mean, he didn't necessarily apologize, but yeah, I guess he showed some concern. but yeah, no, like
Yeah.
no one cares.
That to me is unbelievable, because I immediately felt empathy for you, and I thought, this guy's life's been destroyed. We owe it to him. And I know you're working on an anti-bullying campaign, right? Now this is a cause you're behind, and I think that's great. And I'll help you with
Yes.
this too. I'll be happy to help out. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, man. Yeah, we're in the beginning stages, but we've covered some ground, and there's some other organizations and people and victims in cyberbullying that have reached out, and we're planning some special stuff, and luckily we can raise some awareness on this matter. That it's a really dangerous thing, the cyberbullying thing. I mean, there's a lot of people that they kill themselves, and doesn't respect anything, doesn't respect age, economical, like socioeconomic status, nothing. I mean, everyone is killing themselves because of cyberbullying. It's a serious thing, and yeah, hopefully
Yeah.
we
And
can.
you're. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah.
You're saying hopefully we can do.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, let's just talk over each other.
yeah.
This
Don't
format
make a good
is so
poster.
hard. Yeah. Where are you now? You're in New York City?
I'm in New York. Yeah, I'm freezing New York, running around in the snow,
Yeah.
shooting scenes.
Take me back to your childhood. Where were you born?
I was born in Mexico City, like the one of the craziest cities in the world, and yeah, just I grew up there, and then I moved to the north, and then I've been traveling all over the world ever since 2008. I lived in Germany, in South Africa twice, in Norway, all over the states, South America. Just
Yeah. And why do you call Mexico City one of the craziest cities in the world?
well, firstly because it's huge. I think it's one of the most populated cities in the world, and it's just there's so much going on there. I haven't been there for like maybe 2 decades. I mean, I'll be a poster talking about the city. I just left it, and
Is your family still there?
some of it, but they're like scattered in different states. And
How old were you? Like 10 years old when you left, or what?
12 years old. Yeah, I was 12 years old, and I moved to the north, close to Texas, and yeah, and I just
With your family, or were you alone? What?
yeah, I moved there with my family, with my mother and my sister, and got my degree over there, and had my metal bands there for a while,
Yeah.
a bunch of bands, raising hell.
Yeah. Is your family supportive of your art?
They don't understand it. My father still asks. She says, "How come you didn't turn out to be a jazz player or a blues player?" So, well, there's nothing wrong with metal. I mean, I'm good at what I do. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Is that difficult for you when you don't get the support of your family?
I don't care. I mean, like, I do what I do, and I like doing what I'm doing, and like, I don't expect people to understand it either. I mean, it's like it's a very reduced kind of niche that we have, in the death and black metal community. So, but I mean, which the biggest metal band, the biggest band in the world is Metallica, anyways. The world loves metal.
Yeah. Yeah. How did metal find you?
uh, I guess I was in my teens, and like I come from a broken home, so I was always getting in trouble, and it was kind of hard, to grow up in that situation. So I kind of started listening to metal as an outlet, like you said, Stephen King writing about horror. Like I was, playing rock and metal just as an outlet for my aggression, I guess, and I was pretty extreme back then when I was younger. So yeah, I just needed to find
Yeah, what kind of an outlet? Yeah, and what kind of trouble were you getting into?
just the regular stuff that you get to when you're like a teenager, like just you know just getting in fights in the street or whatever, or like just
Yeah.
just the regular stuff when you're a teenager.
So at age 12, you move closer to Texas, and you're still in Mexico. You're with your family. Where did you get your first degree from?
It's this university called the Tech Institute,
Uh-huh.
and it's like I guess, the number one university in Mexico,
Hmm.
and so that
It's
was
called
cool.
Texas?
The Tech Institute.
Oh, Tech, Tech.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And what did you get a degree in?
In communications. So I've been around the camera my life. Yes.
And at communication school, did they teach you maybe when you sing lyrics, you should sing in a way that people can understand them?
That's why there's lyrics in the booklet, so you can translate the growling.
Oh, now I have a to-do list. Now I have to follow along. I think it's, yeah, go ahead.
It's code, we're singing in code, so no one can understand unless the ones that really want to.
So it's sort of a secret language among the community. How
Yeah.
big is, yeah, how big is the metal community?
Well, I think I read somewhere in the past, like, I think 1%, at least 1% of the world is metal. The population of the world. I mean, if you go to Europe, in Norway, in Germany, it's a huge percentage of people that listen to metal there. It's, but yeah, it's pretty big. I mean, there's film festivals, there's music festivals in Europe, 60,000 people, 80,000 people. So,
Yeah, it's and what do you tell me what the metal community is saying about me? Like, what do they say about people like me that just don't get it and listen to different kind of genre of music? You guys think we're losers? What do you think?
no way, man. I mean, I think there's a misconception. Like, I think just metal people, they just like that kind of music. I guess it's because we're more extreme, maybe. But I mean, I listen to other stuff. I listen to classical. I listen to some blues. I listen to other types of stuff. But
But how does this stuff come to you? These violent, because I don't think in a violent way. Like, I don't walk down the street and I don't think, wow, it'd be cool if that person's neck was bleeding, or your album's name is Slit Wrist. Like, where do these thoughts, how do they come about during the day? Is it at night when you're sleeping? Is it when you're walking around? Help me understand the process of your brain.
I mean, in that case, I guess it's like you're listening to certain bands, and they have this imagery, they have this type of lyrics they're like singing about, and I guess that could influence you a little bit, kind of like you get like kind of like sucked into that world or something. Well, I don't really necessarily get like weird thoughts and write about it. I mean, actually, it's been so long since I made music because of what happened. But back in the day, I will. Most of my songs are like stories, like about dark characters. I have a song about Dracula. I have a song about Lucifer. The fallen angel. So stuff like that, just dark characters, and it's kind of telling stories. Kind of.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's get into this just a little bit, because you ended up going to film school and then you went to, what is it, the New York Film Academy?
Yeah,
Is
that's
that
correct.
correct?
Yeah, the New York Film Academy.
Okay. And then you right, you did a short film, a 30-minute film called Necro Murder. What and this came out in 2018.
Yeah, we're in post production because we shot the film, short film, 30 minutes, and then we won 2 awards, and then I talked to some studios, and they said, well, just make it a feature film, like make it 90 minutes, and then we'll distribute it, or jump in the wagon or something. So we did that. We turned it into a feature, and now we're in post. So yeah, we have some deals, to be able to finish the film, and we still need to contact a lot of studios and people that might be interested. And
Yeah. My guest today is Pablo Vergara. I was introduced to him, unfortunately, in a documentary which I thought was hugely irresponsible, called The Cecil Hotel, The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel. It's on Netflix. I have no problem calling it irresponsible, because I think they made his storyline linger too long, that there was a possibility that he was involved with a murder that was mathematically impossible, and it drove me nuts. And I reached out, and I'm glad we're having this discussion. And I want to know more about what stopped your music career. Because if you go to your website, you say, film is my passion and my ultimate tool of expression as an artist. So you've transitioned into film and you're not creating music as much. And I sense this is because of what took place, which is covered in this documentary.
Partly, yeah. I mean, that happened to me, but like I also had a label and a manager, and they both sucked. And like you mix
Welcome
everything
to show
together.
business. Good luck
Yeah,
finding one that doesn't. Although
I know.
I have a good agent. But you wake up one morning and somebody alerts you that you're all over the media and you're being accused of a crime that you could not have done. Is your head just spinning?
Oh, yeah, pretty much. I mean, when this happens to you, your whole world is just turned upside down. Like you're like, no one. You talk to anyone, they don't understand what you're talking about. Like you're completely alone with these, and like you can't make sense out of anything because everything is just freaking ludicrous. It's just insane, and and it just it gets worse by day, day by day.
How quickly were you cleared? Like when those accusations came out, I know that the Mexican version of the FBI went to your house. How quickly did they just say it's impossible?
I don't know what they might have said because they just visited me and questioned me and left. And I mean, at that time, I didn't even know that this was happening. I just actually realized that this happened when I was doing this documentary because
I mean, like when those accusations came up, were you nervous at all? Because, there are people that are convicted of murders all the time that didn't commit the murders. Were you worried that there was even a possibility that you could be extradited back to the U.S. and stand trial?
man, everything. Yeah, I thought about every like worst scenario. I mean, I didn't know that the police was even checking me out until recently when I was doing this documentary, and I had to look at my log, at my diary, that is, my posts in Facebook back then, and I realized that I was posting about the FBI people, like the PGR people, visiting me, and I was like, oh my god, yeah, I remember now. Like I completely forgot about that, and then
Wait a minute. The FBI wait a minute. The FBI visited you and you forgot about it?
that's right. It's because, like,
How often is the FBI visiting you I think if they visited me, that'd be the one thing I remember for the rest of my life.
trust me, Orny, I was living a very strange lifestyle back then, and I will have visitors all the time. I had a house with a pool and parties. We were partying all the time, and I met all types of people. And
Wait a minute now. Yeah. Well, why are we talking about this shitty documentary? Let's get to the part. What's happening at these parties?
oh,
I've been to parties before, and the police have showed up. Never the FBI. We've never been raided.
Well, I make friends everywhere already.
So we're friends now. We're
Yeah,
buddies. I
definitely.
expect to be invited to the next part. So there was never a moment that you were really concerned about being on trial for this.
No, I mean, back then they visited me, and I just completely ignored it because I didn't know they were there for that reason. I thought I met new friends that happened to be in the FBI, but when I think about it, it's like, yeah, it happened right after they found Elisa's body, and that's when they visited me. So when I think about it, it's like, okay, yeah, they were there for that reason, and they asked me strange questions about, sacrificing animals to the devil and blood sacrifices and all this crazy stuff. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's cool.
And what do you think about that? What do you think about sacrifices and animal sacrifices and stuff like that?
I mean, I don't like it. I don't know why people do that. They're pretty twisted. Yeah, I don't think that's cool.
Yeah. All right, let me read another quote from your website. I am usually misunderstood and have experienced paranormal activities all my life. I specialize in sci-fi, fantasy, horror, thriller, screenplays. What type of paranormal activity?
Well, I mean, when I was recording my Dynasty of Darkness album, we were actually uh, actively seeking to go to places where there was like paranormal activity, like places where there was a killing or suicide. We went to the catacombs in Paris. We went to the El Coronado Hotel in San Diego, to the Lottie Bernard room where she killed herself. We were going to places like that just with our guitars, trying to make music there. We just album, and so
Wow. So wait a minute. You would go to places where their crimes had been committed, and you would sort of try and conjure up that energy and infuse it into your music.
and it's there if you listen to those songs, man. I mean, yeah, it's pretty. If you listen to the Scribe of the Gods, that intro is pretty. Yeah, I mean, that's like there's ghosts like dancing around you or something. It's pretty.
Dude, that's
It's,
wild. So you're playing, and you could feel it. You could feel it at the time.
oh yeah, we were very in tune with that, and that's also one of the reasons why I thought that maybe I ended up in the Cecil because that was
That's what I was
exactly.
going to ask you next. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Because there's been a lot of crime, right? Didn't Richard Ramirez stay there? And there have been murders and overdoses, and so that's why you were there. That's what I wanted to ask you. First of all, I want to ask you, how many stars do you give this hotel?
well, I mean, probably 4. I mean, it looks nice, but if you read about it, it'll probably drop to 1.
Yeah, you should do a Yelp review. I stayed there. I found the lobby very nice and the front desk very nice, but I was accused of murder. 1 star. I don't like when I stay in a hotel and they accuse me of murder.
I,
You know,
you inspired me, man. I think I'm actually just gonna do that.
that's what you should do. You should just write a song called "Writing Reviews" and say, "I did it. I did this at the hotel, and then they murder. 1 star, 1 star, 1 star." I want to call 1 star. You can actually take that voice I just did, put it in that song. I mean, I'm a singer. I don't know if you haven't watched this podcast, but I cover a lot of songs, and I've got the worst voice ever. But I love music. It inspires me, and I respect your dedication to the craft. Morbid, I really do. Or Pablo, whatever you want me to call you. I really do. The fact that you would travel to these places and want to feel it, I think that's amazing. And and tell me more. Just tell me more about the spirits. Tell me more about that. Where's the next place you're going to go for the spirits?
I think I might have come to terms with that chapter in my life, and actually, maybe I'll go back to the Cecil. Like people are asking me if I should go back, and it's like I'm try
I'll
to.
meet you there. I'll
Hell
go
yeah,
there.
yeah,
I'll go there. First of all, listen. Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah. Let's bring guitars and cameras and like see what
Yeah,
happened there.
let's do that. Let's do this first. Let's make sure we have concrete alibis for a year before and a year after. Then let's go to that shitty 1 star. I got accused of murder. I mean, you should just write reviews. I got accused of murder. That would be funny.
The
I
whole,
mean,
yeah, the whole business goes down after that. Don't stay here; you'll
yeah.
get a Christian order.
Are you close with your family?
Yeah, that's somehow, somewhat, but
Hmm.
yeah, I
Yeah.
don't really talk too much about my personal stuff though. It's like
That's fine. What did you when you were at the Cecil Hotel? What did you feel? Did you feel an energy there? You had to have.
I did in the elevator actually from all the places. Yeah, there was a strange vibe there, but to me, like my whole world was like that, so it was like normal, After it was afterwards when I knew what happened, then I realized, all right, yeah, that's why. But yeah, I mean, I saw a lot of crazy things during those times. We in the Coronado Hotel, there was a kind of a poltergeist event. We were shooting an interview, like for a documentary, in that room, the suicide room, and then once we finished the interview, like the whole place started shaking, and the lamps, and sadly we had our cameras turned off, but seemed like an earthquake, but I'm thinking it was something else because I never read news next day about an earthquake in San Diego, so it was pretty weird.
I mean, you said the cameras are off at the time, or did the poltergeist shut the cameras off?
No, sadly we shut the cameras off, and then right when we did that, like the whole room started shaking. And I was there with my ex. She's she's witness to this, and it was pretty. We just ran away from
You know,
the room after that.
what we should do is we should go to the Cecil Hotel, and we'll get little those tricycles from The Shining, and we'll just do that down the hall. You and I will just race down all the halls like The Shining. Remember that they had those little bikes and stuff? That's what we'll do. Hey, I want to ask you. Oh, yeah. I'll be honest with you. This Pablo, I can deal with. The one with the spikes and the big boots, it scares the shit out of me just a little bit. It's a little. And is that part of it? You kind of want to scare people like me, don't you?
I was just joking with people about that because my intention about scaring people, it's turned out into people crying when they see me in the docu. So I'm just telling friends, wasn't I supposed to make people afraid? Like,
yeah.
But I mean, that dude with the spikes also has a little heart. It's just black.
Oh, I saw it instantly. I watched some of your interviews, and I saw you in the documentary. I'm a good read on people, and I go, this guy got screwed. And the real problem is you now have an artificial strike against you for life. So God forbid you're ever in a place where there really is a murder, or God forbid you do anything, this is going to come up. It sucks. It's not fair to you.
Yeah, and my family. I mean, I'm still working on that. I mean, someone told me that maybe there's something I can do legally on those matters, but I'm because there's something that's something I really need to get rid of. I don't want to be connected to being a martyr to someone for the rest of my life when it's not true. So,
and let me ask you a question, and if this is inappropriate, I apologize in advance, but being falsely accused of murder, does that help you get laid?
Lately, well, I mean, you know what? I'll have to pass on that note because I don't want to upset the people out there.
Have you been? I guarantee you've been contacted by cuckoos besides me, like legit crazy people, that women that are probably attracted to this. I mean, because there are women that, like when Ted Bundy was on trial or in jail, women, were hitting on him. I'm sure. Has this brought in some of that?
Well, I'm pretty happy with my WhatsApp account lately, and yeah, I mean, I'm meeting some of them soon. I hope.
Oh, good.
This lockdown sucks, man. I mean,
yeah,
but yeah.
Wait a minute. A guy with black nail polish is afraid of coronavirus?
Well, it's expensive, man. Like, like if you get sick, all the medication. I'd rather spend that money in music or something. I mean,
I want to talk about Necro Murder, your 2018 short film. According to IMDb, this is how they described it. A talented rock star from New York City faces the demise of his music career at the hands of an evil bandmate who abuses his power and owns the music rights of his compositions and steals all his money. This is based on a true story?
Yeah, Necro Murder was written based on a very, very famous story of the murder of Orny. He was the guitar player of the band Mayhem, from a black metal band from Norway, and he was stabbed to death by his bandmate. And it's a very famous story. It's been documented in books, documentaries, a movie by Jonas Ackerlund called Lords of Chaos, and it's kind of inspired by that, but it's also a bit biographical, a bit fictional. There's a lot of elements there. But
yeah, I imagine in about 15 years, you will cover what happened to you in this documentary, and being falsely accused of a murder in your art. Right now, it's too close. You're too blind. I know. I was in a documentary. That's why I reach out to people that are in documentaries, because I'm like, I know what it's like where they can take part of, and I wish I knew you before you agreed to do that documentary, because I would have warned you. And I know you don't do a lot of press, right? Do you not? You haven't, in an email, you actually named outlets that you've refused to talk to. And I know it's rare that you would even have a conversation like this. What made you agree to talk to me?
Well, I mean, I checked you out, man, and I always kind of wanted to be a comedian, but like I don't have. I mean, maybe I can try with my spikes and everything. It might be a good show.
Yeah,
but
I'm here to help, dude. I because the universe owes you something, so I'd be happy to help you if you ever have questions. You can reach out. But there were like another reason I wanted to talk to you because one of my producers reached out to you and she said he's turned down interviews with these people. I'm like, these are big outlets that could help generate you know some interest in his career and certainly empathy. But I think you're smart. I don't. I don't talk to the media a lot either. I turn down almost every single podcast. In fact, I've done 21 episodes of this will be the number 22. I've maybe had 3 or 4 guests on. I just don't. I don't talk to people, and I think you should be guarded, and you should really be careful because these producers, they're smarter than any of us and they're full of shit and they know what they need to tell a story. And like what they did to you in that Cecil Hotel documentary, do you agree with me that they made your story stay on too long? That even there was a remote possibility that you could have been the killer or killer of somebody that didn't kill themselves?
well, I really can't comment on the documentary too much. Well, I had a meeting with the team and we designed it beforehand. I can't really talk too much about it though. Just it was a great experience.
It was a great experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're happy with the documentary.
Very happy. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Joe Berlinger, and I know his film style as a documentarian, and I always respected him, and I thought it will be in good hands.
Okay, because I watched it and I can talk about it. I met with my team. They said, "Go ahead, talk about the Cecil documentary." I felt like they could have eliminated your storyline a lot faster and not let it linger. That there was even a possibility that you could have been. I understand they have to tell a story with tension and stuff like that, but I'm warning you as my new friend to be careful of these people. And did they screen the documentary before it came out on Netflix for you?
No, it was a surprise to me as the same as the entire world. It was I just stayed up that night waiting for it to pop up and binge watch it. So I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah. We're talking about the documentary on Netflix. It's called The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel. And my guest is Pablo Vergara. And he was a subject of this documentary. I saw him on it and I wanted to talk to him. And I'm glad I did, dude. I look forward to meeting you someday, shaking your hand when coronavirus is done and over with. And I would absolutely meet you at the Cecil Hotel. And will you cover my theme song? Are you willing to do this for me?
Oh, you can count on it. Yeah, I have my guitar. I'm actually, when we hang up, I'm going to plug it in. I'm going to start working on it, and yeah, you'll have your song for. I'm going to make it metal. I'm going to make it badass.
Yeah. Make my ears bleed. Make everybody on What's Wrong with Orny Adams. I want all their ears to bleed, and let's keep in touch, okay?
That's my specialty, of course. Yeah, absolutely, man.
Dude, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Likewise, man. Thanks for the opportunity. I'm looking forward to talking to you again.
Cool. Hang on a second. Thank you for taking the time and being candid with me. Thank you for covering my theme song. I appreciate it. And we will be going to the Cecil Hotel. That will be on another episode. I consider Morbid a friend now. And check out his music. You can go to his website, check it out. He's got some, if that's your style of music. I support people like this, and I buy their music. And I encourage you to support Morbid too. And what's interesting, he mentioned Metallica, which was also, they did the music for the trilogy Paradise Lost, that Joel Berlinger. So you can see he's a fan. Morbid's a fan of that director. So I'm glad he got to work with him, and I guess they're keeping in touch. And that's great. Let's get on to some fun stuff. Let's have some fun. This episode's already where are we at? Like an hour and a half? Yeah. Wow. Hey, listen, if you want to keep in touch, you can email me what's wrong at ornyadams.com. What's wrong at ornyadams.com. And guess what? Got a new website that's going to have everything. TeamWhat'sWrong.com. Team What's Wrong. Who owns TeamWhat'sWrong.com? Orny Adams. I'm so excited. I think it's such great. It's a movement. Team What's Wrong. And then you can email me complaints. I had a friend that just called me, mocking me, saying, "Oh, what are you complaining about on the podcast today? That shoelaces are too thin." So let's have fun. This is a way to connect. We all feel deeply disconnected in modern life, not pre-COVID. That's why we're all on our phones so much. It's garbage. It's garbage. I would love to feel connected to human beings again, but I don't think I ever will because, well, technology ruined that. Now we can't even shake hands. So it's all going in the wrong direction. And the good news is I got a lot of good years on this planet. And part of that was living in Italy. I loved living in Italy. I lived there for a semester when I was in college, and it was the time of my life, and I peaked. This is not the peak, everybody. You're witnessing the descent of greatness. That's right. I was great at one time. I loved it. I loved college. I loved college for sure. I loved it. I went to Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia. I loved it. Loved it. Came into my own. Made a great group of friends I keep in touch with to this day. If I have legal problems, I call my big brother in the fraternity. He's a big-time attorney in Atlanta, and he helps me out. He guides me. That's my own legal Zoom right there. Doesn't bill me. That's a good friend. And then I've got, I keep in touch with a lot of friends from college. Great memories. When I do shows all over the country, they always come and support me. Jeez. In Italy, I wanted to talk about my time in Italy. I was really thinking about it yesterday, and I transported myself back there when I lived in Florence, vicino a Fiesole. I lived right near on the outskirts of, that's the Boston accent, outskirts of town. I think it slips in when I get tired. I've seen that with my dad too. His Boston accent kicks in at times. And I'm not hiding anything. I love being from Boston. Look at this. Here's my mug, Lexington, Massachusetts. It's where I'm from. Very proud of it. Went hiking yesterday. I was wearing a Celtics t-shirt. And guess what? That can get you killed in Los Angeles. But I'm proud of it. When I went to see the Red Sox win the World Series, I was there when they won the World Series. And I posted a picture of me here at Dodger Stadium winning the World Series. And guess what? Boston fans weren't happy with me because I wasn't wearing a Red Sox cap. Well, I'll tell you something. I'm not getting killed wearing a Red Sox cap. That's not how I'm going down. That's not the mountain I'm dying on. But I am proud. When my Boston accent slips in, I'm proud of that. Proud of that. I love the Boston accent. I love it. I love Boston. I wish I was there right now. My whole family's there. And I'm going to take a sip of my Snoopy mug my sister gave me in honor of my love for Boston. I'm going to tell you some stories about Italy, and I'll share them. I ran out of time. I think there's the Oscar Myers guy. What's his name? Myers Leonard guy with his anti-Semitic comment that got me going, and then we ran out of time. And then, people don't listen to the whole podcast because it's too long. Because nobody can give me that much. Just listen in bits and pieces. That's what I would do when if there's something I want to listen to, 15 minutes, whatever. Then maybe it sucks. I don't know. Listenership is growing. I want to thank everyone for that. Please subscribe. Please share it. And keep in touch. What's wrong at ornyadams.com. This podcast is not over. Should I play the Italian stuff or should I do that for next? Now let's do it. Let's play me. Somebody gave me as a gift Rosetta Stone, and I'll tell you, I'm having fun. I love the way Italian sounds. In fact, during the pandemic, I said I'm going to go back and refresh my Italian. And my intention was to watch films, Italian films, and force myself to just hear the language. And it's so melodic. It's so beautiful. I loved living there. The stories, oh man, I should have my buddy Brad on. We traveled all through Europe together. And there was another guy, too, went to Michigan. What was his name? Why am I blanking on that? Jeff. Oh, man, did we have fun. The stories. Oh, the stories I could tell. That's right. Fun Orny. Orny's a little bit fun when he wants to be, but responsible at the same time. I remember when we were in Italy, the Terminator, they were showing the Terminator. I think that's the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he goes, "Hasta la vista, baby." And they would show the whole promo. It's just like, stuff being blown up, people being shot, car, whatever it is. And then all of a sudden they cut to him saying that line, and you go, "Hasta la vista, bimba." And bimba, that's baby. In don't you think the Italian people would know if he said baby? No other words in that promo or the trailer, the movie trailer, except for "Hasta la vista, bimba." And I think it was just the bimba was inserted. So it was like, "Hasta la vista, bimba, bimba," with a perfect Italian accent. It was so funny. We used to love when that would come on. Hey, because I had roommates. Come on, everyone, come around. The "Hasta la vista, bimba." And I think it was bimba. In the plural, everybody. What? Not the the plural would be bimba, bimbe with an E, and for male, bimbo. Bimbo. You ever see in Italy they would drive around with "We have baby on board." It'd say "Bimbo on board." Uh-oh. Can you say that? Bimbo? You can't say bimbo anymore in America. Bimbo is a male baby. O turns to I for plural. Bimbi. Bimbi. I remember all this stuff. You guys didn't know that I was somewhat fluent in Italian. Well, I've been taking lessons on Rosetta Stone. Rosetta Stone and I don't get along because I speak loud and she, I think it's a female voice, although sometimes it's a male voice, which all of a sudden on the screen would flash, "Try speaking more softly." And this is actual recording. This is not, I didn't stage this. This is me actually trying to take a lesson on Rosetta Stone. Ready for this? Una bambina. It's me. Una bambina. Try and speak more softly. Una bambina. This is how I speak. The audio is too loud. Try speaking in a quieter voice or recalibrate your microphone. This is insulting. Just trying to learn Italian. I don't need Rosetta Stone yelling at me. I'm sorry. I'm now talking to myself. Una bambina. Is that better? Try and speak more softly. Una bambina. Una bambina.
Una bambina.
Well, now why are you loud?
Un bambino.
Un bambino. Un bambino. Try and speak more softly. Un bambino. Okay, that works. Ai bambino, bambini, il bambino mangiano.
Le bambine bevono.
Le bambine bevono. You're supposed to repeat. Try and speak more soft. La bambina mangia. I've been to Italy. This is how people talk in Italy. I'll just move further away. Yeah, I moved my chair back. Il bambino mangia. Il bambino mangia. The baby eats. Stop telling me to speak more softly. Stupid Rosetta Stone. This is insulting. It is insulting. Il bambino mangia.
Il bambino mangia.
That's what I just said. Now we're getting along, Rosetta. Eats. You and I.
Il bambino legge.
Il bambino legge.
Il bambino mangia.
Il bambino mangia. Hey! Bravo, Orny! It's like a sporting event, isn't it? Il bambino mangia. Il bambino. Where are my Italian listeners to vouch for me? I've got the tongue of an Italian. Boy, did I love living over there. If you're wondering why I didn't become a lawyer, it's because I studied abroad in Italy and I broadened my scope of vision of the world and saw a life, and I fell in love with it, and I thought, you can do what you want. You can follow your passion. There's such passion over there. There is for life, the art, the Renaissance. Oh, don't get me started. And I came back here and I said, I'm no longer pre-law. I'm pre-Orny Adams. That's right. That's right. Which brings us to other artists that I love. I got to wrap this up. It's going too long. I was going to talk about Winston Churchill again in Orson Welles. I was supposed to be on 21. That's now being pushed to 23, if there is a 23. Who knows? It's a lot of work, this podcast. And hey, thank you to the people that actually reach out and acknowledge that and appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Because I appreciate that. Absolutely. But a fan reached out to me on Instagram and wrote this. I'm not going to say the person's name. He's a comedian. He's in Hawaii. He is verified. That's wonderful. And says something, and he makes some videos. I watch some of his videos. It's very funny. And I'm not going to use his name because he does. In fact, he doesn't even know. I didn't answer him on Instagram. I'm going to write back, hey, I answered your question on my podcast. I'm going to get one new listener in Hawaii now by doing this. But I thought I have so much to say. It might be easier if I just give a few minutes on my podcast. And then we're bringing this thing home. This is what he said. Huge fan of you, bro. Was wondering if you have any advice or exercises for writer's block. I know you're a writing machine, so I thought I'd ask the best in the game. 100% aloha from Hawaii. Then he did the Hawaii, this thing, that thing with the finger. And so first I want to play for you a clip that I pulled a couple of weeks ago. Somebody sent this to me. This is someone talking about Jack Kerouac. Gary Snyder. Uh-oh. Gary Snyder? I think he's one of us. I don't think. Myers Leonard, what would you call Gary Snyder? The K word? This is Gary Snyder. He's talking about the writer, Jack Kerouac. You guys know Jack Kerouac, right? The Road? Jack Kerouac. The great, he's a beat writer. This will give you some insight into how he wrote and the commitment it takes to writing or your art.
He had little brown paper, manila cover notebooks where he would write in pencil a lot.
Huh.
And that's what he recommended. We argued about notebook sizes and types of notebooks.
Really?
Yeah.
Did he have a lot of theories of writing?
Well, no. His theory was that you should have a notebook and a pencil always to write down things, and otherwise get to a typewriter and type it up as fast as possible. And his theory was, or at least the theory that he proposed in general was the principles of spontaneous prosody, or prose. First thought, best thought. Write directly what comes to mind. Don't go back and change it. Now, I don't know if he always practiced that, because The Subterraneans and Dr. Sachs are very polished novels. In fact, they're all polished in their way. But that's what he would say.
Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, there's some good advice, too. So here's what I want to give you if you have writer's block. Start reading. Start reading or listening to music or watching movies or people that inspire you. You must find inspiration. Writer's block is wonderful. You want to know why? Because when you come out of it, you're going to flourish. You're going to have a huge explosion of creativity. So embrace writer's block and find inspiration in places that you ordinarily wouldn't. Maybe it's on a walk. Take a walk, put your phone away, and stare up. Look up. Don't look eye level, because you'll see a bunch of people on their phones and you'll go nuts. But just look. Take a different route home every day. Put yourself in situations you ordinarily wouldn't. Take different paths. Do things you wouldn't do. The extreme would be skydiving. I wouldn't do that. But call somebody you haven't called in a long time. Connect with people. Put yourself in situations that are uncomfortable. Skip a meal. Eat too much. Anything. But I find it in music. And I go back to the people that I love, and I watch interviews and I study them. That's why this Orson Welles interview, it's fascinating. It talks about meeting Churchill, and I'll play it on the next episode. But I find inspiration in uncomical places. Stare at a painting and wonder what the artist was thinking when they were, when you go to a museum, you're about 5 feet back looking at a painting. The artist was an arm's length away. So what was their perspective? Look at the strokes. Try and imagine what they were thinking when they were doing this. Put yourself there. There's inspiration everywhere, but embrace writer's block. Without writer's block, there aren't great moments that will come out of it. And reaching out to me, that was a wonderful thing. I appreciate that, and thank you for giving me the compliments. And I hope this helps you. But there's so many things you can do to get out of it, including nothing. Nothing. Just, what is there, a helicopter? Listen to that. Yeah, we're under siege apparently. You can do nothing. You can wait it out. And I'm not going to say his name, but when I would write early on, and I would feel a little bit guilty at times that I had all this free time to sit and create. And I thought, am I wasting my life? And I would just stare at a wall. I was just like, I just stare at it. I thought, this is my job. This is my job, to stare at this wall until something comes to me. And if you feel it within, and you feel like you have something to say and you have a message, then you do whatever it takes to have the time to do that. And sometimes greatness involves being selfish, and I've been very selfish in my life, and at times I regret that. But at other times, I'm telling you, if I had people around me all the time, if I had a wife and kids, which, I think would be great at times, I wouldn't be able to do this podcast right now the way I'm doing it. When I started to think about, because clubs are contacting me about going back on the road, I thought I won't be able to do the podcast the way I'm doing it. This will suffer. Your art will suffer. That's why there's a lot of people in this game that have broken lives. And I haven't balanced it well, and that's something I'm working on in the future, because I've said a lot of what I need to say. And I've said more than I need to say today. This has already gone on longer than I would have ever imagined. I thought, do I have anything to say today? I made my checklist right here, and family, morbid career. I didn't get to Churchill, and I said it. I said it all. So I'm going to reach out to you on Instagram. I'm going to say, listen, I didn't have the time to type everything out, but I wanted to address your concerns. Thank you for reaching out to me. Thank you for the compliment. And let me know how it comes, how it comes together, coming out of the writer's block. I'd be curious. I enjoy hearing from people. I'm a people person. I like to meet people. That's why this world drives me nuts right now. What's wrong with the world? I'll tell you what's wrong. People are just disconnected. You go for a walk in nature and people are on their phones, and I'm guilty of this at times. And I'm guilty of doing other activities while I'm on the phone and doubling up. But it doesn't feel like a healthy world right now. And I know we're coming out of coronavirus, and it looks like we're getting the vaccine and we're going to return to life. But let me tell you, it may not feel much different. And I don't know if people are going to want to leave the house, or they become agoraphobic and they have fear of being criticized and canceled and all that sort of stuff. We got a lot of correcting we got to do on this planet as humans. And I'll just tell you what I know and what I think, and you can agree with me, you can disagree with me. I'm open to all sorts of discourse. But let's have that conversation. Let's have it. This is Orny Adams. This is What's Wrong with Orny Adams, episode 22. That's right. How many people have their theme? Oh, there was more. And xylophone. Heather made that. I appreciate all the contributions to this episode, including Morbid making the theme and taking the time to talk with me about his role in the documentary. Oh, there's video of that. We're getting the video together. It should be up not long after we post this interview. We're going to, this audio. So, listen, I can't encourage you enough to find me on social media, say hi, email me, what'swrong@ornyadams.com. You're welcome to make contributions and send me clips and suggestions and all that sort of stuff. It's absolutely wonderful having this outlet to talk to you guys. I feel completely fulfilled doing this podcast, whereas in other aspects of my career, I have felt not inhibited, but sort of like I couldn't be 100% me. So thank you for listening to What's Wrong with Orny Adams, episode 22.
What's his name, Kev?
Orny Adams. Put them together and what do you got?
We got Orny Adams.
Well, I want to thank Misa for setting up the Morbid interview. I want to thank Ernesto Hurtado, of course. We've been working tirelessly on this Morbid interview and getting the technical aspects correct. And I want to thank Heather for helping with some of the soundbite at the beginning and my theme and xylophone. And please be a part of this podcast. Keep in touch. What's wrong at ornyadams.com. And have a wonderful, wonderful day. And do something different to shake your life up and create a new perspective. That's my tip. That could actually be the rain outside today. How cool is that?